Since I do not have an iPod anymore, I cannot put any music on my stereo. And so we have to find another way. Maybe through my laptop. Okay, forget the laptop. Should we read some more? No, let's look at the laptop. Oh no, laptop's died. Okay, what about growing logic? No, three. We're gonna read some more from book 3, and you might find something that you might like to read yourself. You know, you can get these books on okay. We will read. I don't know what page it is because the page wasn't numbered on this version of the book, but there are 363 pages. Okay. Arrested Development. After numerous suicide attempts and a broken back, through being in a wheelchair to walking with crutches, these are all the signs of what happens when you undergo the systematic degradation and an institution with a rigid framework that attempts to kill off expression, which doesn't stop until death. You do not see the consequences of arrested development. You do not see sense in the argument to live and let live. You pour all your money into proving that the knowledge the scientists have is all binding, all knowing, that we should be subservient to their wishes, that they know the future when only God knows the future, who only has message to tell what God wants to know, like prophecies of Moses, of the prophets and the messengers. Just as a democratically elected president and the UK Prime Minister choose to wage war against other countries and send their young off to fight people of distant lands and to occupy their land by force, and after so many desperate acts of terror, after so many pleas of self-will, after so many dire reactions to obey law and order, we find they are all power mad. From top to bottom, they are all driven by the need to have power and to exercise power over others. There needs to be change. The things they think they were etched in stone are only as old as history makes them. They could, in the Renaissance of time, be scratched in the sand. What I feel is the major flaw in man is its ability to take up sovereignty other than God in order for it to be able to indulge or satisfy its longing for pride. These things are for sure the work of Satan. They never question why we have a monarchy, or what the monarchy symbolises, or what the crown has done over the years. All this is played down, and as though these things will last and will stand the test of time. How many have come and gone, and what makes you certain it will stay? For does it not say, look upon the earth and see what was the end of those who came before you, boasted great wealth and domination, but in the end perished with time? Have they not roamed the earth, and not the consequences for those who preceded them, though they were used to be greater in number, greater in power, and possess a greater legacy on earth? Yet all their achievement did not help them in the least. Just as so many in this world live and welcome the protection of the British monarchy, just as the monarchy seems to feel snug and happy in its home, no matter what they say, the word has already been written. You well then know what fools were we to take up sovereignty in the God the Almighty. Then you see and yourself will be keen as to what man has led itself to. After how many relapses and breakdowns will it take for the administration to realise that we are all better off and would be better off if you stop administering arrested development? If we stop trying to administer brutality and inhumane practices, if we let people live and live ourselves, then there will be no need for such acts of transgression of evil. But those who are called the good guys are really the evil ones, and the ones who are supposed to protect and surround the bad guys. Of what future is these very people are now turning against throwing cruel treatment to people from wherever, because they have lost sight of the real power, which is not money, guns and boys, but in God supreme and all-knowing. They will realise that all power belongs to God alone. Surah 2, verse 165. It leads to the inevitable question, were we not attacked on 9/11? To this man only replies, look at every terrorist attacker throughout his family, one which was elaborate and as sophisticated as 9/11 sticks out like a sore thumb. It goes to show that from planning to implementation is the most impossible mission known to man. So we brought about by the lights bin Laden and Haider from going undetected on planes carrying weapons to taking control of the plane just in time to steer the plane with little resistance from those on the plane to attacking 2 skyscrapers and the Pentagon. And for the skyscrapers to free fall to dust, all through the work of a terrorist organisation run by bin Laden, who happens to reside in a hut or a cave in Afghanistan. Surely you're pulling my leg. How long will it take for any simple, rational, logical person? It doesn't need Sherlock Holmes. It is obvious that terrorists that accompanied the cause of suicide attacks and outlawed behaviour was simply not behind such a Hollywood-style attack on America. Nor will the black sheep of American politics stand up and speak out against this tyranny, so we can be rid of this violent, evil, twisted few for whom people of the world bend backwards to slavery. They act for the sake of a few, not for the many, just for the few. The number of children I will have, the lives they will live. It's all recorded, I believe that now. What has all this got to do with 3? I'm only human too. Wow. I think my eyes would deteriorate if I was to concentrate and read. My eyesight would deteriorate if I was to read aloud off a white page and concentrate on each word. Because when you read in your mind, you don't need to do that. Making enemies of people. If love is forgiving, then how much has God given us? Yet the wars, the jealousies, the hatred, the malice, the lust, the greed and the pride. God is love, love is that something, call it love, is that something about giving. God is light, the certainty with which we know the difference between night and day, to live our lives through certain phenomena. God is peace, submission is all that is needed. Devotion to total submission to the Lord of the universe. There is no other God besides God. Time to be appreciative, to transcend the realms of people, to know the Lord of the people, and thus avoid idol worship. There is no power except with God. Praise be to God, Lord. Glory be to God. God is great. Weakness and realization of the devil's game. Out of weakness do they subject the woman, the poor, and the world to tyranny. Rather than be appreciative of balance and equality, they only vie for who is better. With this type of pride, there is only a gamble, the look of the dice, the uncertainty of life. It's only the weak who try to create an order. It's only the weak who deceive you. It's only an act of weakness that shows they are godless. Neither wanting to acknowledge the miracle of the creation, nor at the design and the ultimate end. Millions are not crying in adoration to the few who rise to the top. They are suffering from blackmail and tyranny of violence. And if you wish to surrender, do you think it is weakness? It has a lot of spiritual power to submit to God, meaning is happiness. There is only one God. Today, after the night prayer, I read the passage of the Quran. Intoxicants, games of chance, sacrifices at the altar are abominations of the devil. Games of chance is a sign of weakness that should avoid FIFA 10. Revenge always seems to go wrong. Terrorists attack indiscriminately, and the armies kill civilians. They would only fuel the flames rather than quench them. I don't know how far I've gone, but there was a theme in this book, and the underlying theme, and it was about culling the world population, which I never mentioned in the word. But I think the realisation of what Iraq war has done has proven that the white supremacists cannot get away with it. There was a lot of demonstrations on the streets of London when the Iraq war happened, and it's a sorry tale, it's a sorrowful tale what's happened in Iraq, and by white supremacists. Now, I'm not a racist, I'm not against white people, but because I know I've been brought up in a predominantly white country, and so for that reason, but this ideology, no, take it and then Esmeralda.
Oh no. You got a gun, I said.
Is it? Yeah, I'll go tell you. So, you know, it's just silence. There's no minute of silence for Iraq. But every time something else happens that supports the ideology, there's a minute's silence. You know, like when one of their hierarchical people dies, or a disaster afflicts them or something, I'm not even a tear for Iraq. And it goes back to the principle: water is more precious than gold to people, because the speculation that the gold economy achieved was usurious, where the value of the gold was not even measured, but the fact that they had the gold meant they could charge extortionate amount of money to loan out to countries which they liked, which were all white, and to indebt the world which was not white, which was providing them with all the resources and all the materials for them to go and indulge their swims on performance cars and yachts and on luxury houses and things like that, and luxury homes and speculative economies and usurious banking systems. Whereas had Iraq not been invaded, then surely the Arabs would have settled the kingdom. It would mean they could buy out the monarchy, which
What?
it means they could buy out the monarchy because they were much more wealthier and a lot more prosperous in the gold speculative economy that the British and the Americans enjoyed. And instead they barbarically destroyed the whole country in Iraq and inflicted them with such a miserable, such a terrible infliction for nothing at all, for no reason at all, other than that they saw them as being inferior and wanted to subject them to a gangster mentality rather than a brotherhood. And the sheep started looking to the eyes of the wolf instead of to the eyes of a shepherd, and looking for the shepherd. You go around talking about how could the Holocaust happen, and how could God allow the Holocaust and all this, but really the Holocaust was a scheme